I'm a huge fan of tangy, flaky lemon squares. Have you ever tried a lemon square? They're this amazing dessert with a shortbread crust and a really intense lemony filling. So, so good. To start your lemon squares, you want to make a crust. I have 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour in a food processor. You could also do this by hand, just by cutting the butter in. To that, add 1/3 of a cup of confectioner sugar, 1/4 cup of cornstarch. This adds a really nice texture to your crust, and then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. This is fine salt. Pulse it together. You want to make sure everything is fully combined. And then add 1 stick of butter cut up into cubes. This is cold butter. And then process it until everything will hold together when you press it between your fingers. You want it to start coming together, hold together, and you press it into your baking pan. What you want to do is spray and line with parchment a 9 by 9 inch square baking pan. And to keep the overhang from folding in on itself, I like to use binder clips. Then you put your crust into the pan. This is going to need to chill before you bake it, so right before you put it into the refrigerator, turn your oven to 350 so it's ready when your crust is ready. Press it into the bottom. I like to spread my dough out sort of evenly over the bottom before I start pressing. That way I don't end up with an uneven layer. You actually want to have this dough go about 3/4 of an inch up the edge of the pan. That sort of keeps the filling in a little bit. Have your oven preheated to 350 degrees and bake your chilled dough for about 20 minutes or until it's golden brown. When it comes out, reduce the temp to 325. Let your crust cool before you start making your filling. You need 2/3 of a cup of lemon juice, so it's probably about 6 lemons. Beat everything in a large bowl. 4 eggs. Beat your eggs until they're fluffy. You could certainly do this by hand. It might take a little bit of elbow grease, I guess, to get them fluffy. Doesn't have to be too crazy over the top, but you want them to increase in volume a little bit. Then beat in 1 cup of sugar. Then you can add your lemon juice. 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. This also helps set, so the eggs and the flour are helping this custard to set. This recipe also gets a little bit of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon in the filling, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Beat everything in. After you've taken your crust out of the oven, make sure to reduce the oven temperature to 325. That's what your custard will bake at. Looks good to me. Custard goes on your cooled crust. At 325, this should take about 20 minutes to set. Step away from the lemon squares long enough to let them completely cool. Then you can lift them out of the pan using parchment paper. It's there to help you, so use it. Lift them out. And then sift confectioner sugar over the top, about a tablespoon, give or take. If you're making these ahead and bringing them to somebody's house or something like that, take the confectioner sugar with you and do it at the last minute because it kind of absorbs into the bars, and you want the beautiful white to stay there when you're serving them because that adds to the appeal. Cut into squares of your desired size. I'm going to do kind of small one because I know if I do a big one, I'm just going to eat the whole thing. Tangy and fantastic. A great treat for any time of day. Hi guys, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to click here if you want to subscribe and click over here if you want to continue watching more great videos like this.